See, Phil and I had met a couple of times. He's about 3 years into the business, and Phil sends me an email. And he says, dude, I want to take you on. Head-to-head, mano-y-mano. Let's do it. And he sends me this email and says, okay, the loser's got to pay for 2 tickets to the baseball game, airfare, hotel. And we're going to go man-to-man, see who can build the most, or who can get to 450 first. And I suddenly had a gut check. Do I have what it takes to beat this kid? And I had to get to work. Year's over, I beat him. What did I learn from my year? This is obvious. Yes, get the year off to a good start. But I have 2 very specific suggestions I'd like to make to you to get your year off to a good start. Most recruiters don't have great Decembers. You will find that December will not be one of your worst months if you end your year on November 30th. I use Thanksgiving to say thank you. And what happens when you say thank you at Thanksgiving when all my competition says thank you at Christmas? I'm 1 month ahead of them. No one else does this. My message gets there first, and my message gets remembered. Number 8. This is a big pet peeve of mine. Refuse to allow email or the phone to interrupt what you're doing on a daily basis. There's nothing in your business that can't wait for 55 minutes. Once they've decided to pull the trigger on a candidate, and you make them wait for 55 minutes, what happens in that 55 minutes? It drives them nuts. Where's the recruiter, dude? And why won't he do this for me? And they want the candidate even more, and it helps your closing process. Lesson 7. Make your clients put skin in the game. I also put down there, and also make your candidates pay. I've believed in years for making my candidates pay me to work with me. I make them fill out these forms, my career assessment questionnaire. I learned from this years ago from Danny Cahill, a dozen years ago. And I believe in this. I make my candidates fill this out before I'll even think about interviewing them. When they fill this out and send it back to me, I know they're serious. There are a lot of candidates in this marketplace who are playing you. You know this, don't you? This is how I get them to pay. 6, I know you're going to look at me and think, oh, Skrentny. For at least those of you who have known me for a while. Exercise, and you've gained 25 pounds since I've seen you last. You talk to any top producer, they make time for exercise. It allows you clarity and focus. It gets the endorphins going, and you will be more successful. Lesson 5. This one's going to take maybe a little more time, and it's not going to be what you think it is. But use technology. I'm the guy who wants to use technology to do what? Make my life more simple. And these are things that have helped me with the success that I want to have for myself. Email, Google, Career Builder, Bullhorn, Big Biller, Sendouts, WatchThatPage.com, text messaging. And I'm glad to use this technology to make my life easier. The things that I'm having the most fun with right now are instant messaging, text messaging, and Skype. And they're making my world easier. And if you're not looking into these things, please look into them. Become a social networker. Lesson 4. If you don't keep in touch with the people in your database, why did you put them in there in the first place? Keep in touch with the people you know. One of my recruiting mantras is the best candidates in your world are the candidates you already know. All right, lesson 3. I'd like to spend a little time on this because this one mattered to me a lot. Take candidates to market. Every month, I dedicate at least one candidate to find them a job. I only succeeded 4 out of 8 times last year. In fact, on all the emails that I sent out presenting candidates, I failed probably 98% of the time. But it's not about the failure. I hope you all know by now that as recruiters, it's not about how often you fail, it's about how often you succeed. I'll do a lot. I will fail miserably 98% of the time, no problem, if you add $175,000 to my bottom line from 4 placements I would not have made, except that I took the candidates out to market and I found them jobs. This is going to be quick and easy. But I am dismayed when I go to your offices that you don't know your numbers, you don't work your numbers, and you don't sell your numbers. Last year, the people I placed, 39% of my dollars came from referrals, 33% came from direct recruits, 28% came from my database. 100% of the candidates that I placed came from sources my clients couldn't find. Do you know this number about your business? Should you? Accuracy. They want candidates to show up for their jobs and their interviews and their assignments. So do you know this about your business? You can only do two things in this business to make more money. You can either work more or become more efficient. The best recruiters use these numbers to build a daily planner to hold themselves accountable daily. Lesson number 1, the most important lesson of all. This is what I learned from Phil last year. This is the lesson I want to leave you with. Bet on yourself. I wouldn't have bet on myself last year. Phil made me bet on myself. Phil forced me to think about what I'm doing and how I do it. Phil forced me to ask, what am I doing and with what efficiency am I doing it? Phil made me say, I'm going to win. A lot of you are solo practitioners, small business owners, producers in small shops. And sometimes you get into a rut. I would say 70% of you raised your hand earlier today when I asked that question, and you're comfortable there. But I'd like to thank Phil the Punk, because energy like that is what a lot of us senior producers need to get back to the success that we've had in years past. And then please, 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 above all, remember that if it's not fun, why are you doing it? God, I love my job.